Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the top ranking Necrodrakon teams for the endless boss mode and some free to play alternatives as well. We'll lead it off with the overall top team, which Barbell Sage has sent a replay to me. He got 60 billion damage with it, but I have also run it on my account and I have gotten 54.6 billion, but maybe I could get a better record if I had, maybe if I tried a few more runs for RNG. Okay, so here is the team. We'll talk about the formation and then we'll take a look at Barbell Sage's replay. So we have the main phraesto in front of the Smokey to give him the energy generation, which is important because Necrodrakon is going to reduce your energy recovery, and in order for Smokey to work here, you need him to cast his blue aura to deal the high amount of damage. So the energy recovery from phraesto is key. We also have Reinier to position swap Smokey into the front and also give him the attack buff. This way he'll be buffing up our entire team for as long as possible because both phraestos will walk up to the front. Lily May will enter the front as well, and Mikola will be running right to the boss. So the positioning for Mikola here is good because it will allow her to have her Curse Sphere active on both phraestos and Lily May. And that's really important. You want your heroes, especially your buffers, to land their buffs on all of your allies. And Mikola is really important for her positioning because she has a low range of her Curse Sphere, and you want it to hit all three of your damage dealers. And Reinier magic charms are going to be given to the Lily May. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top ranking replay. And the only reason he kind of got a higher record is because he of course has high investment onto his heroes. We are all basically at the level cap, but he also has the legendary magic charms on Lily May. That's really important. That increases the damage you're dealt to the boss up to 13 and 16%. Okay, let's take a look at this replay. So we have it. So Mikola runs right up to the central position. Smokey will be teleported right to the right side of Mikola. And Lily May runs right in like 2 tiles behind Mikola, which is perfect. Now, Lily May should be getting buffed from Mikola. Is she getting buffed from Mikola? I mean, we're only seeing one haste buff on it. I think she is getting buffed from the Mikola. Good. So that is why this positioning is optimal. What I noticed though is that Mikola seems like she could die at some points. So maybe this isn't the safest run if you haven't made it to like 801 resonating level. I'm going to show you an alternative team which was actually considered the best team before this new team was found. And credit for this team goes to Basilisk for coming up with this optimization of the positioning of the heroes. Because now it's just perfect. This is what you always want to happen. Everyone's getting buffed up by Smokey, everyone's getting buffed up by Mikola. You have the key endless damage dealers, which are the phraesto and his illusion, as well as Lily May. And Reinier to increase the damage the boss receives more, and also get a good position swap to put Smokey in a position to buff up your entire team. Because now look at it, Smokey's going to be getting silence, his energy recovery is going to be reduced, and he is probably not even going to cast it, or maybe he is going to cast another ultimate. But that's a difficulty of running Smokey in this boss. You have to plan it out so that Smokey's blue aura can have the full uptime. And in this formation it works. Okay, 56 billion damage and still 15 seconds left. And Verdant Spell. Verdant Spell is a good artifact because first of all it gives a decent amount of attack, 16%, and it gives class-based buffs. The main buffs you're thinking about are it gives penetration to your rogue like Lily May, and to your supports it gives them haste to cast their skills more frequently. But yeah, I think it's really about the Lily May's damage from the penetration. Like, look at this. Lily May did the most damage, which is insane. Like, Lily May is dealing so much damage to these endless bosses, specifically for Necrodrakon. So I guess Verdant Spell is just powering up Lily May further because she's your main damage source. But again, another team using phraesto in the endless Dream Realm boss. Like, I think every single Dream Realm boss is using phraesto in the optimal team, which is insane. It shows how powerful he is. And even his magic charms don't even provide any offensive stats. They're just purely defensive. But other than the stats of the charms himself. Okay, and so that is the team. Now I'm going to show you an alternative. Maybe if your Mikola is dying. we will take a look at that. And this was the previous best before the new positioning was found. And that is going to be 52 billion? 52.4 billion was my record with it. So same hero, is just a different positioning. Everyone is exactly the same except for Mikola, rather than behind the phraesto, is going to be up here in the more optimal positioning. But here she gets a damage reduction and she's still going to end up in a pretty good position. We can watch the replay on 3x speed and see, but I think maybe Lily May is not being buffed up here. Yeah, see, this is the thing. And when you plan your teams, you want it, like, see, no haste buff onto Lily May. You need to have your buffer, especially Mikola, hitting all of your key damage dealers. Because if you don't get that, it's going to reduce the damage output of your team. And if you could figure out an arrangement which will allow you to do it, it will just increase your score. Like we saw, the best for me was 52.4 billion with this team. But with the improved team, I got 54.6 billion. So over 2 billion jump in score just from an optimal positioning of the Mikola. Pretty much. Yeah, that's the only difference between that and this team. Okay, so this is your other option, maybe if Mikola is dying. Okay, now we're going to move on to the different, like, free-to-play or more budget alternatives. So there are a bunch of teams you can try, and I've basically tested a lot of different teams. The one which did the best for me is this one, 46 billion, that we managed to get. So we're going to take a look at this formation. So here it is using Mikola. And I'm going to show you some alternatives if you don't have Mikola, but if you have her, she's going to be a great choice. But you're going to really want her at Supreme Plus, because then her Courage Sphere is unaffected in duration. Necrodrakon and Snowstomper, they have like silencing and reduced energy recovery for Necrodrakon. So if you don't have her at Supreme Plus, she's not going to be able to recast her ultimates effectively. And so your damage output will be lower. But if you have it at Supreme Plus, this is the best team to run. So Temesia is great for Necrodrakon because she moves around the map and she deals some true damage. So overall, she contributed a decent amount of damage, 4.4 billion. And she also has a physical defense shred, but only by a minor amount. Merrily also contributed a lot in this boss. Merrily is really good, and even Corrin are very good heroes for Necrodrakon. So if you have them at Mythic Plus, these are going to be great options for you. Reinier is going to position swap Merrily to the front and give her the attack buff. And again, we have Lily May in the back with the attack charms from Reinier and the Verdant spell to power up. Well, this is really, Verdant spell does well here because it powers up the attack speed of Merrily, it powers up the penetration of Lily May, and yeah. Okay, let's take a look at this replay. You can watch it in 3x speed. So Mikola runs right to the front and she's going to be in an optimal position. Again, Lily May runs right behind the Mikola and everyone is getting buffed on your team. Now, Merrily can dodge around and avoid your buffs. However, you can't really do anything to prevent that. Mikola is still a great option because of controlling the Honor Arena. You're going to have the 20% attack boost for your team. In this team, you're not really going to be able to run Smokey effectively unless you have that fully dedicated Smokey comp, and really with the phraesto Crimson contract as well. The other teams, Smokey just is not going to be a good option. Now, Mikola dies pretty early on, like you saw there. I don't know, maybe with better RNG she could survive a bit longer, but I think it would be very difficult. And Temesia survives for a long time, gets off decent damage, and she tanks the boss for you, which is an advantage. So that is overall why this is one of the best teams you can run. This was the best run I've tried out of the different, like, more free-to-play non-phraesto teams. But let's take a look at it like a completely free-to-play, almost friendly team, which is using heroes which you probably have if you've been playing from global launch. You again want to have Mythic Plus on Corrin, Merrily, and Temesia, and also you need to have Mythic Plus on Reinier to have his debuff. Thorn is in here for the debuff as well. And in total, the damage, Merrily and Corrin both did a lot of damage. They're both really good for Necrodrakon because they move around, they jump around, and so they counter the boss's skills and debuffs that he's trying to apply to you. Thorn is a good tank, especially with Soul Pact as well. He's going to keep the Temesia alive for a bit longer if you're having difficulty surviving. And also he'll get a third life if need be, because Temesia will grant that. Okay, we had the resonating spell on the Merrily in the back because she is your main damage dealer, and she's able to repeatedly and very quickly cast her ultimates, even though Necrodrakon has the ability to reduce your energy recovery. That's only if you're standing still. She's charging her energy just fine, and So she's basically casting her ultimate every 6 seconds, and that gives her 6-second uptime of a 35% attack buff to increase her true damage output. So I really like this team. I think this is a great team you can try, and this is the most free-to-play friendly team. Okay, let's move on and take a look at some other team options that you can try. Okay, so we have another one which was even better, using Kruger. Now, Kruger did contribute some damage, so maybe if you don't have a highly ascended Kruger, the previous team I showed you would be better with the Corrin, because these two teams are really close. But this is basically exactly the same, but rather than Corrin having the Kruger, again you have Resonating Spell on the Merrily. So the advantage of Kruger, he provides physical defense debuff to increase the damage from physical sources like Merrily. But I guess the disadvantage is that once Merrily begins dealing true damage with her normal attacks, the Kruger's debuff is not really going to help you as much. I'm pretty sure, although there is one thing which increases the vulnerability of the boss, and I don't know whether the true damage is going to scale off of that. But anyway, this team works very similarly. Kruger has no issue surviving, and if you're an earlier game player, then Kruger's a great option here because he's difficult to kill, he's a good tank for your team, and along with Thorin, that should buy enough time that your damage dealers are safe in the back and not going to be targeted. Okay, so 45.8 billion damage right there. There is another option here. So, basically, Coco can be a good option for the Necrodrakon boss. She can give you more survivability. So, this team also ended up getting a really similar score to the other two that I've already shown you. And we're gonna watch it, because maybe this will be the best for you. Your two damagers are Lily May and Merrily, and Coco here for damage reduction, hopefully to keep Mikola alive for longer, to keep buffing up your team. And again, the positioning is going to be in such a way that Lily May will end up in a position to be buffed up by the Mikola, yeah, and that is perfect. That's what you want to see. Mikola, Merrily, it can't be avoided if she jumps out of the range of the Courage Sphere. There's nothing you can really do about it, and still the Resonating Spell is great. She's able to charge up her energy so quickly, and that allows her to begin dealing true damage faster, because after 6 ultimate casts from your team, she will begin dealing true damage. And each time she ultimates, she gets the attack buff to power up her true damage more. So in endless bosses, it's really usually Verdant Spell if, like, Lily May, you're going all eggs in the Lily May basket and making her your key and only major damage dealer, because then the penetration helps. But if you're going for another damage dealer, Resonating Spell, like even phraesto, Resonating Spell can be the best option, because each time you ultimate cast, you get that attack power. For Lily May, Resonating Spell isn't really the most optimal because of the fact that she needs to wait until the boss casts ultimate before her ultimate will actually trigger, and she'll be able to recast it. So she doesn't have high uptime of the Resonating Spell buff, as compared to Merrily, like in these teams, has pretty much 100% uptime of the attack buff. Okay, let's try maybe a really free-to-play friendly team. I think the most free-to-play friendly team without Reinier, for example, and we've even shown this in previous videos, is basically using the Corrin Temesia, and it would probably be Resonating Spell again. Merrily. Corrin deals good damage in this boss. We saw when he did 11 billion damage and Merrily did like 22 billion damage. Again, you're going to want to have Thorin to soul pack the Temesia. That's going to be important. And then finally you can run like Kruger, for example. I think Kruger would be fine, right? Is Kruger the best option here? You don't want to go triple damage. If you have Lily May, then you can try incorporating her into the team rather than maybe Corrin. Like we saw people running Merrily and Lily May together. That was a really good team score. But we're gonna run Kruger if you don't have Reinier or debuff, because basically the way I think about how to replace the heroes I don't have is I think, okay, well, Reinier is a debuffer, right? That's his main use. So why don't I just go for Kruger instead? Because he's also a debuffer and he'll increase your physical damage. And yeah, and like Thorin can be a good replacement for Reinier as well, because he has a debuff to increase the damage the boss receives. But and like for Lily May can be replaced for Merrily in a lot of teams if you don't have Lily May built, but you have Merrily at Mythic Plus. But Merrily, Corrin, they need to be at Mythic Plus, otherwise they're not effective as damage dealers here. Okay, looking really good. Wow, this is looking great. like, everyone's practically dead, but 45 billion damage without even Reinier, like a really fully free-to-play friendly team. 45 billion is a really good score, considering that, like, the overall best non-phraesto team right now, for me, is only getting 46.4 billion. Right? Is it? 46, oh no, 46.6 billion. And this one, without Reinier and without Lily May, is getting 45 billion. So this is a great team. I think this is a team I would really recommend. And Kruger only needs one copy of him because he's only there for the debuff. But the other heroes you want to have at Mythic Plus ideally. So anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you can get a high score in the Necrodrakon Dream Realm boss. But that is going to be it. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.